Hi everyone, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to tonight's live Q&A webinar for the Investor Agent Program. And I want to welcome the veterans who are on here who've already gone through the initial 6 weeks and are out there producing. Ray Higgins is on the line. Thanks again, Ray, for being here. And there's others as well. So let me, before I get into the subject matter, I want to check the message box here and look for initial questions. I have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 emails to go through, and I've already gone through them, so I've got them organized. We'll go through those tonight. And fortunately, the subject matter is, a lot of cases, is identical, so that tends to be a trend with this group. Thank goodness you guys are definitely on the ball. But let's check here. This is from Susan Murray. My KW Market Center said it is not going to allow me to do property management. Do you have any idea what I should do about that? So Susan, you are in Lynchburg, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And what happens is some ownership groups already have property management. If they do, then usually they'll say, well, you have to use theirs. It's sort of like the title company. They really twist your arm to use their title company that they're affiliated with because it's typically a joint venture. With property management, what happens there is it's their own property management company. Okay, it's not like a title company they did a joint venture with. The ownership group for your market center has created their own property management company. And in those cases, a lot of times they'll ask you to use their property management company, and you can get referral fees out of that, so you can do that. The other option you have is, which you could ruffle some feathers, but we've had students do this, is you can create your own property management company. Now, to do that, Susan, you have to have your own broker's license. Okay, this is in the States. The only exception to that rule is in Canada. So for all you guys who are on the webinar tonight from Canada, oddly enough, at least this is the case in Ontario, you don't have to have a license to manage property for other people. It's really a dichotomy because in Canada, as you all know, and I'll be up there again this weekend. I've studied everything up there. It's a lot tougher to get a realtor's license in Canada than it is in the States, even more strict than in California. Okay, Canada's pretty tough. It takes a lot of time, energy, and money, and it's just unusual. I know Canadians feel the same way, that you can manage properties without a license. It's the strangest dichotomy. But in any case, Susan, back to you. You do have to get a broker's license to have your own property management company, and you got to set up a separate tax ID. Okay, and you would run your sales through Keller Williams and run your property management through your own company. And we have students like Anna Jenkins and Rick Benez in Fredericksburg, and Susan, if you want me to connect you with them, I can connect you with them. But they moved from Fredericksburg to Stafford so that they could run their property management company. They do it separately. They do sales through KW. That's what you can do. I can tell you it will take you some time, energy, and money to set it up, Susan. I'd be glad to help you with that. We are going to, again, you can be part of that pilot development. We'll do that probably later in the winter. In the meantime, we can work together on that more closely and have you hook up with Anna and Rick to get some more insight. They started it based on my feedback and input and me helping and coach them through it. And they started in February, and they've already got over 40 units. Okay, so yes, you can do it. Just imagine in 6 months already having 40 units. You know, and they're getting 10% of gross, and the average rent out there is probably around $1,000. So they're getting about $4,000 a month right now income from that business. Okay, and that's like residual income. Okay, let me see if there's, and Susan, let me know if that helps you, and you can also email me and ask that we talk about that privately, or we'll do another focus session on that. And also, you should have a copy of the book on management properties. If you didn't get that, let me know. We sent that out, I think, twice in the last couple months. It's the book I wrote. It's not edited or published yet, but you can have it. Okay, this is from Carol. Carol says, do you need an actual broker's license to own a property management company? An agent license doesn't work. Carol, in almost every single state that at least I've been studying, I haven't taught in Hawaii yet. For example, I haven't taught in Alaska yet, but everywhere I've been, managing someone's property falls under the broad guidelines of real estate client-agent relationship service. And if you're going to provide that service, you either need to be an agent underneath a broker, so you're hanging your license with a broker that gives you the right to service his clients on behalf of the broker. You're actually working for the broker, Okay, it's the broker that has a relationship with the client. You're just simply an agent assigned to the agent, to the client, excuse me. So within that context, they perceive property management as you having a direct relationship with the client, and either you need to do it underneath your existing broker's license, or you need to have your own broker's license. I have not yet seen a state that doesn't require that. You can certainly go to your state board of realtors and post the question, and they'll give you the direct answer, but I'm almost certain that that's the case. So let's see here. What else is after that? Okay, I think that's it. Okay, guys, so we're live, we're recording. I appreciate all of the feedback, all the input. Let's see, Andrew Patterson, or hopefully you're on the webinar here, because I've got your email to go over, and I'm going to, if you're not on the email, if you're not, let me just do this. Andrew, if you're on the webinar, please shoot me a quick message here so I can see if you're on, and let me just scan back and see if you already did that. Richard, Dave. Okay, I don't think Andrew is on yet. Andrew, if you're on and I missed you, the screen goes by pretty fast. Here, oh, cool. All right, Andrew. Andrew, so I've got your email. I'm going to go over that one next if you're okay with that. Right now, let's look at Jennifer Heath's. And Jennifer is responding to, yes, she's going to attend the free webinar on flipping, which again is on Thursday, June 10th. She's read the book twice and following the criteria, using the cash flow analysis. She's listened to interviews, especially the one with our dear friend Rick Benez. You must know Rick. And by the way, guys, Rick is an awesome dude. I'm trying to get him to join my mastermind group. If you look at his Facebook page, you'll see a hard driving, hard charging monster of mountain biking. Okay. He's also at one time was ranked number 2 in his region. And by the way, his partner, Anna Jenkins, was ranked number 1. So you've got 2 top agents, literally number 1, number 2 in their regions. Anna didn't go through the program, but she and I go back a long ways, and she used to help me with my business. So she knows exactly what to do and how to do it. You can just imagine her living with me. We actually were roommates years ago, so she got to live with me and got firsthand knowledge. And then Rick came along. Rick took the program. It took one of the pilots or one of the beta programs. Now they're partners and they're crushing it. So that's why their names keep coming back again. And again, they're in Virginia. Okay, I have a financing dilemma I'd like your input on. I have found a property. I'm ready to make an offer. However, the only options my bank can give me are FHA or conventional with 20% down. Aha, sounds like a typical traditional banker, because the only thing that they know is traditional banking lingo and transactions. But there's a lot more ways to get money out there, Jennifer. I do like conventional, by the way. I do not like FHA at all when it comes to investment properties. They take up way too much time. They're too strict. They view investment properties the same way they view residential properties. And even though it's only 2 to 4 units typically, it's just not the case. Okay, it's a different ballgame. Conventional is usually easier, and yes, they do want 20% down. So I don't have 20% and don't want to be forced to pay mortgage insurance and live in the house for a year. Are there any other financing options you know that I could look for? What would you do if you were in my shoes? Okay, Jennifer, I can't remember where you're from. If you're on the webinar, please shoot me a message here and I'll see it and I'll know where you're from. But you could, if you're buying a multi-unit property or a property that's non-owner occupied, you're not going to live in it, you're going to rent it out, which makes it a business, you could get a commercial mortgage, okay? Commercial mortgage providers and lenders don't have the same restrictions that residential guys do, okay? They're a little bit, they're not as, how do I want to say this? They're used to dealing with traditional consumers, so they're used to being very warm and friendly and happy and hand-holding and consoling. Okay, now when it comes to commercial guys, they don't have to do all that stuff. They're going to look at you and treat you like a business person, okay? So they're going to tell you it like it is. They're not going to hold your hand and console you and be real happy and flowery. And they're going to be polite. They're going to be professional. This is a business, and they're going to look at it and treat it like a business. And sometimes you can find a commercial lender who lets you buy a property for 10% down. I've even seen 5% down, believe it or not. Right now, guys, and I would write this down, commercial lenders want to lend money like now. Okay, commercial lenders want to lend money now, and they've loosened their lending standards even more than a residential side. So that's the first thing I will look at, Jennifer, is commercial lender. Go to any small local bank and tell them you'd like to look into a commercial loan. Okay, it's a business loan is what it is. Different terms, different pros, different cons. Typically, you're going to have a shorter term. You'll likely have 5-year repricing. You might get a 15-year term as opposed to 30. I suggest a 20-year term. Always ask for a 20-year term, and I emphasize that, guys, for you to write that down. Now, Ray Higgins knows this. Okay, I learned to really appreciate 20-year terms. The difference in loan payment is not that much different than 30 years, and yet it's not as tough as a 15-year. And yet you still get the lower interest rates like you get on a 15-year. Okay, now you might get a 5-year repricing or a 10-year repricing, which means in 5 years they're going to look at the marketplace and adjust your interest rate up or down depending on market conditions. So you might think that's a little bit risky, but it's really not. Okay, things don't change that much that rapidly. I haven't done a residential mortgage in 15 years at least. I've done nothing but commercial, and I'll never do any other loan other than commercial. Okay, and I would like each of you guys, when you do your own investing, to start doing commercial too, commercial loans. Okay, they're actually easier, less paperwork. Okay, so that's Jennifer's email. Let's get out of this one and go down, and let's find, and here he is. Okay, this is Andrew Patterson. Hi, Andrew, and by the way, thanks, and thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Andrew, for letting us share your emails, your requests, your suggestions, and your information with the group. Okay, this is why we prosper so well here, because it's an open forum and we actually do share with each other. And the good news is we can do that because everybody's around across the country in different, everywhere from coast to coast, and even in different countries, including Canada. I've been invited to speak in Mexico. I don't know when I'm going to do that. I've got to study Mexican law, and while I know how to speak Spanish and French, it's not like I speak it every day, either of those languages, so it takes me a while to get up to speed. So in any case, here we go. All right, let's see. I think I must have got lost in email, and I apologize, Andrew, if I missed this last week. Actually, you said you sent it on the 11th, so please forgive me, and I'm glad that you resent it so that I did see it. Okay, I had some questions for you. Can we either go through them via email? Yes, we can do that. And also, by the way, Andrew, I will be next week. Let me tell you where I'm going to be. I will be in Mississauga on Tuesday, September 1st, and that is at, I think, 11 a.m. Don't quote me on that. I'll be in Kitchener on Wednesday the 2nd. I'll be in Newmarket on Thursday the 3rd, and Oshawa on Friday the 4th. Now, when I leave Oshawa, I'm driving up around the top end of the lake and down across Vermont and into Maine. So let me go through that real quick. For everybody on the call from Canada, Mississauga is Tuesday, September 1st at 1 p.m. Kitchener, Wednesday the 2nd at 1. Newmarket, Thursday the 3rd at 1. And the Oshawa class is on Friday the 4th at 10 a.m. So for everybody in the States, if those towns don't sound familiar to you, that's because they're in Canada. And that's where my Peggy lives, and that's why I go up there all the time. So let's look at this. I'm finished Module 5. I'm ready to start making money. Last Monday, I sat down with one of my investor clients. It is a couple. They are looking to start moving into multi-unit dwellings. They currently have 2 townhomes rented out and a 3rd rental to be completed by the builder in January. They're willing to sell their oldest of the rental properties, approximately 6 years old, and start looking at multi-units. Good. That's good news. We know that duplex or triplex is currently the best starting point for them, and we have some good ideas about locations. I have gone over the worksheets with them, and they are excited to work with them. They have a great lender, so that side of the deal is good. What I'm looking for is a roadmap on how to transition them into multi-unit dwellings from a single family, and then how to transition into apartments and larger properties. Do you have a suggested method for helping investors grow from their first rental to owning apartment buildings, or is this something that is very situational and there is no real strategy? Actually, the answer is yes to both. It is very situational, Andrew, but But there is a path. There absolutely is a real strategy. In fact, there's a book I'm going to recommend. I wonder if I can come up with the title right now. It was David Martin asked for this. He was in the Alexandria, Virginia office, and there's a book out there that shows you how to progress from small apartment buildings like duplexes all the way up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 unit buildings. Okay, there is a certain strategy. It follows the escalation method that I'm a big advocate of. In other words, instead of always buying 50 single family homes, buy a duplex, then buy a 4 unit, then buy an 8 unit, and use the game of Monopoly as a model for how to win the game of real estate investing. You escalate up the ladder to larger and larger properties, and that's exactly what this author advocates, and it works. In fact, we follow Millionaire Real Estate Investor, Gary Keller's book, and we follow the likes of Dave Ramsey. Okay, so in any case, the bottom line is this. If they've been dealing with single families so far, Andrew, the first thing I would do is start them in a duplex. If you can locate a 3 unit or a 4 unit building, and it's a good deal, by all means do it. However, you're going to find that there are more duplexes out there because particularly up where you live, there's a lot of towns. I mean, there's so many towns up there within an hour or two's drive of Toronto. Where there's small, there's like branches of the university system, University of Toronto, Western Ontario University, and there's a lot of homes have been converted to duplexes. Okay, they're conversions. There's a lot of those out there. So I would start by looking for those and think of the ladder. You would take them one step at a time up a ladder. You would not take them 4 steps at a time. You'd take them one step at a time. Okay. So I would start with a duplex, and if you could remind me, Andrew, send me another email or text and ask me for the book, and I will share that with you. In fact, I'll include the entire group on it for anybody who's ready to move up the ladder and start buying larger properties, or want to at least understand the principle behind that escalation model. I'm glad to share that book with you. Okay, it's not one that I've written myself. Matter of fact, I like the one that I'm going to suggest so much, I wouldn't rewrite it. I like it just the way it is. Okay, so let's see here. Second question is about the booklets. As I mentioned, I want to grow my investor clientele. I feel that getting investors who are interested in rentals is probably the best next step for me. And I tend to agree, Andrew, and for all the folks in Canada, this is really important. I really want to encourage you guys to look at your census data, Canadian census data, because you can find the history of building permits on those websites. Okay, you can go right to the Canadian website. I gave it to you guys in your first module. But here's what you're going to look for, and this is true for everybody, including those in the States. If you want to see what's going to happen down the road, look at building permits. And here's what you want to do, guys. First, look at residential building permits. That's your homes, the homes you're going to live in. Okay. And generally right before a correction, that trend tends to go up. The problem is the non-residential construction, i.e. business construction, will tend to go down. And where the two cross, that axis where you've got the residential permits going up and non-residential permits going down, when they cross, you can pretty much rest assured at some point in the near future you're going to have a correction. And the reason is if non-residential construction, in other words, if business construction is going down, that means there's going to be fewer properties built for businesses, which means there's going to be fewer jobs created because there's going to be fewer businesses. Okay, I know it sounds so simple, but it's one of those simple truths hiding in plain sight. The information is free. It's available to everybody. For those of you in the States, typically you'll have to go to your local zoning board downtown, and you can ask to see information on permits. Sometimes they'll publish it online. Okay, and matter of fact, a lot of the planning commission websites will put that information on there. So for Andrew, good move. You're looking into rentals, and the reason I say this is because I actually looked at your building permits and I saw that your non-residential was dropping down and heading past, crossing over the axis of the residential building permit. So it's just a matter of time. I don't think it's going to be disastrous, but it's just a correction. I mean, the Canadian market was hot forever. Okay. Let's see here. I have moved the 3 brothers I work with out of flips to rentals because the flip market in my area is so polluted. Another good indicator. You've got the tight inventory. Excuse me. High prices. Um, I know what's going on up there because I'm involved in it on a regular basis. I have bid. Here's it right here. Everybody pay attention. I had bid against 35 other agents, not an exaggeration, and the property is sold over my estimated ARV. Okay, so what I would do is you got the right strategy, Andrew. Focus on the rentals. If you really want to get involved with the flip market right now, you're probably going to have to go further out away from Toronto because it's just too hot, or you're going to have to find inventory and use more stealth tactics to find inventory. You can't use the multi-list system. And I'll give you one tactic, David or Andrew. If you want to still do some flipping, what you can do is go to your local courthouse. And I've done this in downtown Toronto, and I've done it out in London, Ontario. In fact, for those of you in the States, you guys have it made because you can find this information out a lot more easily online. But in Canada, it's a different set of rules. We have foreclosures in Canada. They don't call them foreclosures, they call them something else. But if you go to your local courthouse, Andrew, ask them to see the filings for the last 30 days, and you just pick whatever bank, Scotia Bank, make a note of Scotia. There's different DBAs, what's called a doing business as, different names that the banks use, and a Bank of Scotia, Nova Scotia can file under a number of different names. What I suggest, Andrew, is look for local credit unions, smaller banks, okay? Go and see if they've had any filings in the courthouse. You have to know their name that they're using. So if it's a, University of Toronto Credit Union, you have to know that that's their name we're using for filing. You can see what all they filed. They'll bring up the records, and you can see what they're filing for foreclosure. Then you can go find those people through GIS data, okay, or Geo, and get their name and address and go approach them with that letter that I gave you guys. Use that short letter, the one you approach people who own small rentals that you want them to sell. Use the same letter for people who you can determine are going into foreclosure, okay? You just tweak the wording a little bit and it works like a charm. So Andrew, that's how you can get some inventory kind of under the radar screen. So let's see here. I need help with what price points. Okay, we already went that. Right. I'm not in a rush to do this. I would rather take time and do it correctly with high quality. I have made many mistakes in real estate. Most have been while I was rushing to get something out, okay, against a self-imposed deadline. Well, I appreciate your honesty and your candor here, because I think everybody here has done the same thing. I used to be a ready, fire, aim guy myself. Okay, I'm also thinking of giving these packages to my neighbors. Most of the people on my street have been there quite a while and should have quite a bit of equity in their homes, as well as, except for the retired people, okay, I gotcha, they all have good jobs. What are your thoughts about soliciting this type of business where you live? Should I treat it differently and make it more of a face-to-face conversation when we are all cutting the lawn, or should I just avoid it and look for business elsewhere? I love this question, Andrew, okay, because now we're crossing over into the owner-occupied business. However, I'm going to show you a tactic tonight and actually have a recording on it that we can send to you. It's called circle prospecting, Gary Wilson style. So first thing is this: these guys are your neighbors. So far, you're more intimate with them because they're your neighbors. So you want to treat them a little bit differently. You also indicated that they have a lot of equity in their homes, and they all have good jobs. So typically, none of these people are going to be in a distressed situation. They're just typical homeowners who have a lot of equity, and maybe some of them are emerging retirees, which is a good source of inventory. So here's what I would do. I would create a report, Andrew, on your neighborhood, a 3-page report. It's a summary report. And the first page of the summary is going to be the summary of what's sold in the last 90 days. And I know your days on market's pretty short up there, but still do 90 days. Okay, you want to show them. If it's too much, then make it 30 days. You just want to get it all on one page. Real, one line per property, maybe 2, maybe 3 per property. If you can fit it on one page, that's great. Here's what's sold in 30 days. The next one would be pendings. Okay, here's what's under contract. And the next page would be what's currently active in the neighborhood. And if your neighborhood, you should try to cap this to around 200, maybe 300 on the outside. Okay, and then what you do is, and you hit the nail on the head. Soliciting, where did you say this? Face-to-face conversation when I'm cutting the grass. Yes. So what you do is you go around to these homes on Saturday morning when people are cutting the grass, okay? This technique works very well between, say, April and mid-April, mid-October in your area because everybody's out cutting grass, trimming shrubbery, planting flowers, and that's where you'll see them out and about. You don't have to knock on their door. You don't have to do cold knocking or door knocking. Okay, so you walk up, dress well, don't wear a suit. Just wear your regular clothes that you would wear on a Saturday in your neighborhood. You can wear sneakers too, okay, tennis shoes. Walk up, introduce yourself, unless they already know you, and say, you know what, I'm a realtor in the area, and I was so interested in what was going on in my neighborhood, decided to research it. Here's what I found out. I'm going to give you this information. Would you like to have it? It's what's active, what's under contract, and what's sold in our neighborhood in the last 30 days or 90 days or 60 days or whatever. Okay. Now, at that point, you know, I would not ask for business at this point because it's too early in the relationship game. However, if that leads to a conversation, you building rapport leads to a conversation, and a subject comes up, by all means, pursue it, okay? But at this point, you're just looking to establish a beachhead. You're basically shaking hands, getting names and numbers and emails and that, all that stuff, and establishing the relationship, because later on you're going to use that relationship to profit and help your neighbors. Okay. Now, the reason I like this approach in the situation described is I'm not looking at this as an investment opportunity. I'm looking at this as a way for you to get listings in your local neighborhood, just traditional owner-occupied listings. However, the one exception would be retiring people. Sometimes people retiring have not updated their homes in quite some time, and you might be able to get good deals on these places and flip them yourself or get them in your investor's hands so they can flip them and you get to list them again later on. Okay. So let me stop there real quick and see if I've got any questions. I just gave you guys a real mouthful there. So let me go back here. Let's see. Okay, this is Andrew. Hi. Okay, maybe we can sit down Monday after your class in Mississauga. I'm not far from there. Let me know. Okay, will do. Let's see. I have to be back in London by 7:15 that night for an appointment, but we can certainly still try to meet. If not, we'll just do it after Kitchener. Let's see, Andrew. I was thinking if they would be good investors for rentals, not for selling their homes. Okay, so Andrew, back to this paragraph here. You might find some good rentals out of that. What you want to do is figure out what rents are in your neighborhood, and you can do that by looking in your local publications. Look at Kijiji. There's a number of websites I've seen up there, rental websites, where you can determine what market rents are for the area. Okay, and then you look at the property, see what you think it will be worth on the market. Okay, in dollars and cents wise, and see if somebody was to buy it, what the mortgage would be, and then compare the mortgage plus some expenses, water, sewage, what have you, garbage, and some overhead for maintenance repairs. Compare that to the rent. If the rent is substantially greater than that, what would be normal routine upkeep and a mortgage payment on the house, then I think it would be a good rental. Okay, the reason that's important is this. I know you're looking at it as a rental. You're not looking to sell it. However, whether it's you, the current owner, or any other buyer, if it's going to be sold, you need to look at it now from the eyes of an investor. Okay, so that's why you want to do that analysis now up front to determine if it really does make sense as a rental. Okay, not just because it's an elderly couple who may want to keep the house and because they have no mortgage, rent it out, and they can certainly do that. But the risk is, what if something happens to them? Okay, because every day in this world, people get married, they get divorced, people are born, people die. People get jobs and lose jobs. If something was to happen and they had to sell their house, what would that scenario look like? Because now they got a rental that might need a lot of work to get it fixed up, and they might be in a crunch where they need money like now, and they may have to sell in duress. In that case, they're going to sell to an investor who's going to keep the rental. That's why I suggest you do that. Hopefully that makes sense, Andrew. Okay, let's see here. And this is from Ray. Okay, hi, Ray. And Ray's the veteran on the line here. I have a buyer that went to bid on a house at auction.com. I know a person who bought a house that way, and there was an issue with clear title. Is being an agent for someone through an auction site should that be avoided? Ray, it depends on the auction site. Some auction sites mandate a flat commission to any realtor who's involved. It's not even sometimes a percentage, it's a flat rate. You have to look at that and see if it's worth your time to get involved with the transaction. Because you're right, in a lot of those auction deals, a lot of times you're getting what's called a quick claim deed, and there's no warranty. There's no special warranty, no general deed warranty, no warranty at all. It's just, you know what, you take the property and good luck to you, okay? So in an auction, I would suggest that you encourage your client to pay for a title report on the property. They can do it for maybe $100, okay? Pay a title searcher, not a title agent, a title searcher, to do a title report for $100 to see what the liens are on the property. If it's a clean property, then yeah, go ahead and maybe buy it at auction, and they should be able to get their own title policy on it once they own it, okay? You just want to see if it's worth your time to do that. You could tell your buyer you'll represent them through the auction, but they have to meet your minimum commission requirements, okay? It depends on where you are in the country. If you're in Dayton, Ohio, or Cincinnati or Indianapolis or anywhere around that area, you might only have a $2,000 minimum. If you're in the Philadelphia area, up around Ottawa, you might have a $3,000 minimum commission. If you're in Boston, Toronto, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., you might have a $4,000 minimum commission. You just need to know what your minimum commission is that you would accept, and you can require your buyer to pay the difference between what the seller gives you and what your minimum is, okay? So be careful of those, Ray. Good question, by the way. Okay, this is Lou. Hi, Lou. Okay, people are cutting the grass. Start quick conversation, but don't try to sell yourself. Am I just asking for their email and phone numbers? Actually, Lou, what you're doing is, if this is in an area that you've determined using the school report and the melissadata.com and the planning commission websites, that it's a great area to farm. When you go out there on Saturday, and Lou, there really is no predefined script. The bottom line is this: you're just looking to establish rapport at this point, because you're going to get people from all different personality types. You'll get the D types, the high drivers. You'll get the I types, influential, social, and they'll do a lot of talking. Of course, your drivers, or D types, are going to be real fast and quick. C types are going to be kind of quiet and not real non-committal. S types are going to be they're not going to want to hurt your feelings. They'll stop what they're doing. They'll talk to you and shake your hand and make you feel good. You need to quickly determine, Lou, what type of personality you're dealing with, and then based on how the conversation is going, you'll know how far to press and how long to keep them. So it's really a dance. It's just like any other conversation. When you're looking to build rapport, it's a dance. You make a step, they make a step. You make a step, they make a step. You're looking for feedback. Look at body language, look at their eyes, look at their hands, look at their tilt of their head, okay? Look at how they're holding their body posture. Look at how they're holding their arms, okay? If they're holding their arms and their head's back and they're squinting at you, that's a good sign. You better stop talking right away. If their arms are open and flailing up and down and talking and have a good time, just hang in there and keep talking with them, okay? And then what you want to do with those situations, say, look, I really appreciate this. I really am sincere about this neighborhood. I love it. And would you mind if I move along here and help other neighbors by giving them the same information? I'll be glad to stay in touch with you. In order to do that, is it okay if I get your email or your phone number? I'll send you more information. Okay, Lou, so keep that in mind. You're always looking to offer them something, because if you ask for their contact information, you already know their address, and chances are you know their name. But if you're looking to get their email or phone number, you better be able to give them a good reason why, because sometimes they'll ask you, why do you want that? You can say, well, you know what? I'd like to send you more information if you'd like. How about I give you a free evaluation on your home? Okay, so take advantage of the opportunity. Pay attention to the body language and of course the verbal feedback. Don't push too hard, because you want to build a relationship. You want to, I promise you, if you build a relationship first, it will pay you dividends, not just with potential sale there, but referrals, okay? You're the realtor who took the time to help them, give them information, and you didn't hard sell them. You just wanted to basically talk to them and be friendly. They will remember that in almost all cases, okay, including the D types. So I hope that helps there, Lou. Let's see. Ray says, thanks, you're welcome. Okay, this is Lou. Hopefully they won't throw a rake at me. Lou, I would have to come up there and come out to lunch with you or something, or I'll go around with you. Okay, they won't throw a rake at you. You know, you want to approach them in a non-threatening way. You're a local professional. You're interested in the neighborhood because you live around there. You've done some research. You just want to share the information with them. So that's the first thing you do is say, look, I had this report. You know, I want to share it with all my neighbors here in this neighborhood. You know, this is what's on it. If you'd like to have it, that's great. And here you go. And if they're act like they're real busy and in a hurry, just do that and let it go from there, Lou. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let me go back to the email here. Let's see. Lastly, I would love information on property management. Okay. I already have some investors who are landlords who I take care of the lease listings for the properties. As I grow the number of landlords I work with, I would like to be able to service all of their needs and feel that now is the time to start doing the research and laying the groundwork so that when they are ready, I am ready. I know that you had mentioned a pilot program for property management. I would love to be part of that, but I was hoping for some information now as well. Okay, so Andrew, if you didn't get the book, I believe it's called Rental Profits Without the Pain. I think that's what it's called. Oh, I'm sorry, no, turning rental profits into turning rental problems into real estate profits. That's the book. That's the new title. So if you didn't get that, just put that in the email to Beverly and I, and we'll make sure we get that to you. But I think she just sent that out a couple of weeks ago, actually. Now, in the beginning, I talked about the next program we're developing is on flips, and we had to decide that we do flips or property management. We are still getting a lot of strong interest in property management. So I tell you what, guys, if that really is the case, if there's enough of you guys out there who want to do property management, we'll kick off that program too. I'll do it sooner than later. I don't mind doing 2 at a time. I can do it because it only takes me, a part of 1 day a week to do it. And same for you guys. As long as you have part of 1 day a week to do it. I'm going to do the flips on Mondays, by the way. So we'll have to do this like on Fridays, for example. And I always keep Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays for the nightly for these webinars we're doing here. So if enough of you guys send me feedback and say, hey, Gary, we really want property management, let's do it. We'll work together on it, and everybody wins, okay? In the meantime, Andrew, just make sure you get a hold of that book, okay? It'll give you a lot of insight just to show you what you're going to be getting into. Okay, so let me go to the next email, which is James Lagroon. So hang on one second. Dave's in here. So Dave Gambasini. Dave, if you're on the webinar, I think you and I are going to be doing a phone call coming up. So shoot me some days and times. Also remember, Dave, I'm going to be up in Boston, Massachusetts, the week after Labor Day. And I think I've already given you the schedule. For those of you up in the Massachusetts area, get your pens and pencils out. I'm going to tell you what it is right now. I'll be in Merrimack on Tuesday, September 8th at 11. I'll be in Worcester. Hopefully, Lou, I got that right. I used to call it Worcester. Worcester at noon on Wednesday the 9th. Westboro, Thursday the 10th at 10. And Leominster on Friday the 11th at 12. So, Dave, if you want to get together in person, that's great. If you want to do a phone consult, just let me know, give me some dates and times, and we'll hook up. I'll be on the road a long time this Thursday afternoon from about 3 till about midnight, and then the following Friday, September 4th, from 2 till about midnight, I'll be driving from Oshawa, Ontario to Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Okay, let me find, let's see here. I've got to find James's email. James, I hope you're on the webinar here. Let's see, here we go. Pat Klug, okay. James Lagroon, here we go. James Lagroon. Hi, James. Gary, I hope you had a great weekend. Time to relax with friends in Maryland. I did. I was in Assateague Island, riding boogie boards and surfboards and paddle boards, and watching the wild ponies and doing some fishing. So it was great. I started Module 1. It really has some great information. I used Bank Tracker for some small banks in the community and found several banks with trouble asset ratio 2 to 3 times the national average. James, that is awesome. So James, guys, lives in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. It's outside of Washington, D.C. to the east of Washington, D.C. And just like every other part of the U.S., and by the way, for the folks in Canada, unfortunately, Bank Tracker only works in the U.S. It was created by grad students at American University in Washington, D.C. I have not yet found an equivalent tool in Canada. When I do, I'll be glad to certainly be sharing it with you. But this is not that finding foreclosures is good for us, but it's good for business because it helps us know where to focus our energies to get these listings and get them into our investors' hands. Okay, questions are, who should I be talking to or ask for when I go to the banks? Good question. Again, this only works with small banks. 1 branch, 3 branches, 5 branches. That's why in Canada, I suggest that you always go to your local credit unions because they're typically going to be small. In Canada, the reason is, guys, the other banks are always large national banks or very what we call super regional banks. And they generally work directly with, they already have contracts with certain real estate providers. And it's a different ballgame. It's a different way of doing business than they do it in the States. But in any case, that's why I like going to the credit unions up in Canada. Any case, so in any case, you want to ask to speak to the branch manager. If it's a real small, like a 1 branch bank, ask to speak to the branch manager. If they've got 3 or 5 branches, you want to speak to their loan officer. Sometimes there's 1 residential and 1 commercial. You want to ask to speak to them both, okay? Is there anything else I need to know to pique their interest and list several properties with me? So what I would do, James, and for everybody else on the webinar, when you approach these guys, be yourself, okay? Be your authentic, true, genuine self. Don't overdress. You want to be business casual, okay? Business casual for men is slacks, a good button-up collar shirt with maybe the sleeves rolled up one time. For women, maybe a knee-length skirt, maybe below the knees, and a jacket or just a blouse if it's summertime, and some low heels. Don't wear big, giant high heels, okay? I mean, you can, but this is just, I used to be a banker, okay? So when you walk in, when you speak to them, you always want to establish rapport first. You know, hi, how are you doing? How long have you been here at the bank? Are you a native of the area? You know, they're going to want to get to know you too. And then you want to get into, understand you may have some troubled assets here and use that language. I'm not suggesting you change how you do your business. However, I have clients who want to buy some of your properties. And if you'd like, I'd be glad to sell one of them for you just on a trial basis. You get to see how I do. If you like how I perform, perhaps we can do more business together, okay? That's exactly the kind of language you want to use. And remember, small banks, small local banks, because they generally hold their loans, they're portfolio lenders. They don't sell them on the secondary market. By the way, in Canada, for those of you who don't know, Canada does not have a secondary mortgage market. The banks up there, large and small, don't sell their mortgages on the secondary market. They keep them, okay? That's why they have such a low foreclosure rate, because they do a lot of good due diligence before they ever lend the money, which is smart. That's how we should be doing it everywhere. Okay, let me reduce that and go back to my list of emails here. Hang on one second. That was James. Lou actually had an email in here. Expired letter. Oh, there we go. Okay. And this is a quickie. So Lou had the question, Gary, I know you're busy, but could you please read my expired letter when you have time, and any input would be greatly appreciated. So I read Lou's letter, and I don't see it here. Lou, let me find the original email. If you don't mind, I'm going to read the email to the guys on the call. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. So hang on to your horses, guys. Let's bring up Lou's letter. And I'm going to bring my screen back over to make sure you guys are okay. Let's see here. Let's see. I've got to catch up on some questions from you guys. Hang on one second. Okay. Let me go back here first. All right. So here's Lou's letter. Dear, and whoever the person is, I'm writing to you about your property located at 123 Main Street, Medford. I noticed at one point you had your house for sale. I'm not suggesting you sell your property if you don't want to. However, inventory is tight right now, which means demand is driving values up. Excellent so far. Okay. I have clients who want to buy single family homes in Medford, just like yours, in the same area. And I think I had one tweak here, Lou. It was, I forget the exact wording, it was just a small tweak on the wording. In any case, that's why I specifically seeked you out. Even if you're just curious about what your property is worth, please call, text, or email. I'll be glad to give you a free property evaluation. All of my contact information is provided below. I love the letter. And this is very important, guys. This letter actually can be tweaked and customized for a number of different purposes. You can use it to send to people who own small rental properties, okay, who might not otherwise know that there's an easy way for them to sell their properties even though they may want to. You can use it to go to expireds. You can use it to approach FSBOs. You can use it to approach absentee owners, okay? Sometimes we call them accidental landlords. You can use it to approach people who are going through a divorce. You can use it to approach people who are going through a probate. In other words, someone in their family has passed away and their property that that person owned is going through probate because they didn't have their financial affairs lined up properly with a will and trust and so forth, okay? Lots of uses for this letter. You just simply tweak it very little, okay? The shorter the better. This is a short letter, and boy, is it powerful. So that's Lou's letter, and I wanted to emphasize that you guys can use this in a number of situations. Let me do this. Let me reduce this first, and then go back and look for the next email, which is Matthew O'Mara. Let's see. Matthew O'Mara. Here we go. Okay, and before I do Matthew, I'm going to jump back to the questions first. Okay, so this is from Dave. Plan on meeting you in Westford, Mass office. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Let's see, Gary. Hi, Gary. I'm on the webinar. James. Hi, James. Awesome. I'm so glad you're on board, and welcome aboard. I'm hoping you're taking a lot of notes and getting a lot out of this. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wait. So no, Westford, Merrimack, New Hampshire, or Merrimack, Mass. That's Mass. I'm sorry, that's Mass, Dave. So I'm going to go back up there probably the let's see, the week of October 19th, because I've still got to hit some other offices and also go back up into New Hampshire. But I also understand it's that your region's mastermind week and Bold starting that week, so I might have to go to a different region that week, Dave, and come back. Again, that's not till late October. The week after Labor Day is a guarantee. I'm already cast in stone, so I definitely will be there. Okay. Let's see. Some administrative questions. Somebody wrote some administrative questions, and then nothing came after it, and this might be Patrick or Patricia because it just says PATRI and it got cut off and there was nothing after it. If you want to repost that, please do so. And this is from Margaret. Hi, Margaret. How are you? Question. With kids going back to school now, I'm wondering what you think about school teachers as investors for multi-family rentals. Be honest with you, Margaret, my experience with teachers was I did better with them as flippers, especially married couples, teachers who are married, or a teacher who's married to a fireman, for example, or any other public servant, policeman, fireman. Those guys make great investors, actually, by the way, along with their teacher partners. They can definitely do, the firemen and the policemen will definitely do rentals. The teachers almost always opt for the flips. And I think it's because of their annual schedule allows them to have time off at Christmas and Easter and, of course, the summer months, okay? I think that's just psychologically, I think flips is where they should be. However, you can definitely approach them with rentals. I would see if you can, Margaret, in your area, I tell you what I would do. And actually, for everybody on the call here, one of our greatest examples of this model is John Clyde. He's in New Jersey. He was a New Jersey State Trooper. Did quite well when he got his realtor's license. Ended up leaving the force because he was able to help all the state troopers in New Jersey, help them buy rental properties. Okay, made a lot of money. Now he's an area director for Keller Williams. He directs several offices. Okay, that's a big deal. And he's a public servant. So public servants really do well with rentals. So Margaret, I would look and see typically you can find out, you can get information on these guys. A lot of municipal websites will have information. You can also go to the local firehouses. There's lots you can do to get a hold of these guys, but maybe look towards those guys as people who buy rentals. Okay. The teachers are easy to find because, of course, they all teach our children. All right. You could approach them with the concept of buying rentals and see how that works. It's not that I did badly with it. I just did a lot better with them as flippers. That's all I'm trying to say there. Let's see here. This is Patricia Harris. Hi, Patty. Okay, let's see. What is the website you mentioned where we can log in and access all the recordings? Something you mentioned last time. Also, is there a way to get just the sound of the webinars? Would be great to have this on iTunes in the car. Yes, so Patricia, the website is up. We're actually loading all the material now as we speak. The software has been installed, so we're loading the data now. So probably by the end of the month, one of the things I think I mentioned last week or the week before is we're shooting for the end of the month. So after next weekend, we hope to have that available to all of you guys where you can log in, access any webinar you want. We're going to have them cataloged by subject matter. So tonight I'll record this. When it gets cataloged, it's going to say, hey, we talked about all the subjects we talked about tonight. Okay. Now, as far as getting audio, that's something else we're looking at doing for you. I think it was Daniel David had already figured out how to strip off the audio. He was making his own recordings, and I know that it can be done. I just never done it myself, Patricia. But apparently you can strip off audio and make your own CD or MP3 or if you want to put it on an iPod, for example. So hang on for that. Once we get it on the website, that next question should be much more easily answered. And if Dave, if you have a way, if Daniel, if you're on the call, Daniel, David, if you want to send an email with some brief instructions to share with the group, that would be awesome on how to strip off the audio. Because Patricia, that's what I do. I have my own coaching, but mine is all through freeconferencecall.com, so there's no video to worry about. I just simply take it, record it, load it on a CD, and I listen in my car when I drive around. Okay. Okay, let's see here. When approaching the banks, are they typically short sales or foreclosures? I'm not interested in short sales and have only been on the buyer end. Is it challenging to be on the listing end for foreclosures? So this is from Lou. Hi, Lou. Actually, when you're approaching the banks, I always focused on the foreclosures. I wasn't interested in short sales myself either. Now, short sales have gotten a lot easier over the years, okay? However, I focused on the foreclosures. They've already been foreclosed on. Now, as far as it being challenging, here's the good news with working with these small banks, Lou. It's way, way, way easier than to work with the small banks than it is to work with the large banks. Much, much, much easier, okay? What will happen is you'll get to use your own board's forms. You'll get to keep all your commission. You won't have to cough up 25% to some mysterious asset manager. You'll get a real live human being as a client, a contact, and a real phone number who's not going to yell at you every week, asking you to take more pictures and do more reports. That stuff doesn't exist with these small banks. So I really encourage you to visit small local banks. And I know, Lou, in your area, you got a ton of them. Because remember, I was up there, I looked in your phone book, okay? So keep that in mind. This is Sierra. Hi, Sierra. Welcome aboard. Would she be willing to share her letter? This is Sierra. So Lou, would it be okay if I shared your letter with the group? And actually, Sierra, the letter that I showed you was the exact same letter you get with your, I think it's either module 1 or module 2. So look at that in your delivery that you got from Beverly, and you should have the exact letter. But most cases, people in this group, Sierra, everybody pretty much shares openly because they don't have to. I mean, you're in Baltimore, Maryland, Lou's up in Boston. There's no way you're going to use her letter and compete with her. Even if you did, it's not going to matter because there's so many dentists and chiropractors. It's just there's no way you can step on each other's toes. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I meant to say, and that got cut off. Okay. Oh, here it is. I have been on the buyer end for foreclosures. Is it challenging to list them? Yeah, I don't like listing the big asset manager foreclosures, Lou. I don't like listing Fannie Mae and HUD and VA. I've done all that. and I just don't like it. I would rather work with the small banks. But a lot of people on the call, they might like working with the big banks. I did it for years, made a lot of money, but I worked like a dog to do it. Okay, we're caught up now, so let's go over to Matt's email. Matt from Manchester. How you doing, Matt? Gary, I had a question regarding the investor seminars or meetings I plan on organizing. Any suggestions on how to differentiate my sessions from the local real estate investors monthly meeting held in my area? Yes. Okay. And I'll get into that in a second. Let's see what else you got here. I went to my first real estate investors meeting with David Gambasini. Awesome. You guys should be partnering up. Matter of fact, Matt and Dave, if you guys aren't already and you want to, you can start to share. Each of you do 1 or 2 marketing campaigns and share clients. Okay. It's a great way to. I've seen more teams form as a result of this program than anything else I've done. Okay. He attended last week in Manchester. Dave and I enjoyed it. Great resource, large group of people, maybe 70 or 80. Unfortunately, there were a lot of members who are realtors, and that's right. When you go to the investor clubs, you're going to be one of many realtors here, all right? At least 8. The meeting started, people getting up announcing what properties they have for sale. Now, I don't do that, Matt. I don't do that at my investor. I call them investor forums. I don't let investors get up and parade their properties. In fact, I don't even parade my own properties and my own listings. I will sell my listings on a one-to-one basis, client-agent relationship, but not at my public forums, okay? Or what properties you're looking for. Okay, next, people broke into smaller groups to discuss specific issues they were having. I do agree with that it's a great format, okay? For example, obtaining financing. So it sounds like this guy's using my model. Whoever did this workshop was using my model. They just let the investors parade their properties, which I don't agree with. But breaking up into small groups, I've never seen that done ever before other than my format. Okay, I will definitely maintain my membership in this group, but want to do my own group. Okay, a couple things here, Matt. You definitely still want to belong to a local investors group because you want to have access to the vendors, the plumbers, the electricians, the carpenters, because you're going to get a lot of good referrals on those guys, good feedback from consumers saying, yep, this guy's good, this guy's no good, whatever the case is. And you can use them and suggest to your clients that here's guys that they can use to do the remodeling, for example. Okay. So I still will belong to those groups, only for that reason, though. All right, let's see. By the way, Dave's monthly marketing letter and to his database is phenomenal with your feedback and that of another agent or a KW office. He has created a very professional-looking letter. Well, that's good news, okay? How much did you spend per letter again? Dave's was a little pricier than I had hoped to myself. Well, the letter actually, if it's just a one-page letter like Lou brought up, that's just you and a computer, Word, and a piece of paper. If you're talking about the booklet, you must be because you're saying monthly marketing letter. Okay, that's the booklet. Yeah, the booklet cost me about $1.35 a piece at a local small mom and pop printer. Now, when I went to Kinko's and all the other big chain outfits, it was a lot more than that, and I was trying to find a better price. So I found a local mom and pop shop. They quoted me a high price too in the beginning, Matt. But what I said was, hey, if you cut the price in half, I'm going to do this every single month forever. And they did it. They agreed to my half price offer, and I did it, gave them business every single month. Okay. So that's one way you can keep your costs down. That booklet does work wonders. You got to keep at it, too, guys. This is very important. Consistency is the key to this method. You got to send it out every month for 12 months. Okay. And this is important. Everybody on the call, I would write this down. When you're in an area where there's a dentist or a chiropractor that you've been sending this to and you haven't heard from, after the second or third one, pop your head in, say, hi, this is Matt, or hi, this is Dave. I'm the guy that's been sending you that booklet. What do you think? Have you considered investing? Typically, you'll get a non-committal response. Hey, I'm kind of busy. I've thought about it, and I'm just not really sure if it's for me. Right away, you kind of raise your hand a little bit in a gentle gesture and say, hey, no worries. How about if I just set you up on a free search for properties specifically for you, specifically in your area? Doesn't cost you a thing, and now you can see for your own purposes what's available to you. How about that? Generally, they'll say sure. Okay. When they do, you say, great. I'll call you at 9 o'clock tonight. I just have a few questions that help me tailor the search so that I can find the specific properties specifically for you in your specific area. Now you've got a high wage earner, professional service provider who's self-employed on a call at 9 o'clock at night. That's a good position to be in. Okay. Now, Back to the first part of Matt's letter on the webinar. I'm sorry, on your investor seminar. I call them investor forums. You can call them seminars if you want, or workshops. First thing is this: mine is always free. I don't charge my participants a dime. The one you're going to down here, the Manchester Investor Group, I'm willing to bet they charge a monthly dues or an annual dues. I don't charge my clients any dues to attend my meeting. Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing is I don't let the investors promote their properties in my meeting. Okay, I do have them break up into groups though. So, in any case, have them break up into groups. Only speak for 5 minutes in the beginning, Matt. Okay, go over what's going on with financing, what's going on with foreclosures, what's going on with rental properties, what have you. Okay, let them break up into groups and talk amongst themselves. In your very first meeting, Matt, show up just for the first one. Show up with listings and some of the analysis forms already filled out on those listings, and make duplicate copies of them, because it's a great way to have an icebreaker at your first meeting, because a lot of times you're going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be awkward because it's your first one. Now you've got something that's very much pertinent to the subject matter that gives them something to look at and talk about. Okay, then you can break up into groups. After that, talk for 5 minutes and have a table on financing, a table on rehab, a table on flips, a table on rental. Let them break up and speak amongst themselves. Okay. Now, as far as setting it up initially, Matt, you and I should have a strategy session, and I'll go through the details with you. It's just a little more. It's already 8:08, and I could talk all night about that subject. Before you launch, I want to have a strategy session with you before you launch. So if you could, Matt, email me again. We'll set up a time for you and I to go over that over the phone while I'm traveling across the country, and we will get you set up with your first workshop. Okay? All right, let's see if we got any. All right, we're caught up on questions, so let me go to the next email, which is, let's see, that's Matt's. Oh, Sierra. Aha. So Sierra's on the webinar, and Sierra, I'm going to use your question. Uh-oh, what happened here? Hang on 1 second here. Close that out. Here we go. Greetings, Gary. I overlooked the registration for yesterday's call. I have a presentation on Wednesday, and I feel this would be a perfect opportunity to discuss my investment skills. Please let me know a good time to speak with you, and thank you for your link to the replay. So, guys, Sierra and I spoke on the phone actually yesterday morning when I was driving from Assateague Island to Annapolis to teach. And Sierra, I hope it's okay for me to bring this up. Should have asked you first. But generally, if you don't put confidential in the subject line, I'm going to assume it's okay to discuss in the weekly webinar. So, in any case, Sierra was going to speak at the local Rotary Club. She was going to have an opportunity to present. Okay, and so we walked through that, a little bit of language, posture, things like that. And what it reminded me of, guys, is if you look at Module 4 in your manual, you'll see that there's a lot of other marketing ideas you guys can use. This talks for everybody. Join local investor clubs, okay? Let's see I won't go through all these tonight, but Craigslist, we've kind of beat that horse to death. Facebook, LinkedIn, churches, grocery stores, restaurants, local publications, direct mail. A lot of this stuff we've already covered. Create your own website and a blog, which I've done. Joint ventures, YouTube. We'll discuss YouTube sometime, guys, because that's a good one. Let's see. And bonus. Okay, so let me go back here to Sierra's email. So what it brought to mind, guys, is you can join your local investors club to get access to the vendors. I would still do that. However, you can also join your local builders association. You can join your local mortgage bankers association. I used to belong to all these. I didn't go to every event all the time, but I went to at least one event for each one every single year to shake hands, meet people, network, get business cards, basically just have conversations with them. Have a beer, have a glass of wine. Generally, you're going to have dinner. If you golf, you can set up golfing dates with these people. That is a great way to network. So write this down, guys. Join your local builders association, your local mortgage bankers association. If there's even property management associations in almost every city, local property management association, join that organization, particularly for those of you who want to do property management. Okay. Join these local groups. They usually cost a few $100 a year. You only got to meet them once a year, and I promise you're going to get some business out of it, okay? But it's a great way to establish yourself, establish credibility, and then when you have your own material that you're sending out, like your booklet, for example, that we just talked about, now you can see, you can list on there the different affiliations that you have. Member, you could say member of Boston Builders Association, member of Toronto Bankers Association, okay? So Sierra, thank you for that, because it reminded me to mention this to everybody on the call that they can do that. Let's see, I think we had one from Dave and Massini here, and let's see, there it is right here. Okay, so Dave's talking about the booklet. And I read this before, and Dave, let's see, I've already been contacted by some people, so that's excellent. So Dave sent out 23 booklets. He's already been contacted by a few people, only on his first mailing. So Dave, what I would do is I would follow up with these people, okay? And here's what I would do. If you're sending it to chiropractors and dentists, this was really my comment on your email here. Follow-up is very important. It just depends on what you're doing for follow-up. Do you call them, do you email them, or do you visit them in person? I'm a big advocate, Dave, of visiting these people in person. Stop in, pop your head in and say, hey, I'm Dave. I appreciate you getting back to me. I'm the guy that's been sending you that booklet. What do you think? Have you thought about investing anymore? And then we actually went over this about 20 minutes ago. Use that same dialogue. You could get a non-committal response. Just offer them a free search of properties. Show them all the listings that's available for them to invest in the area, and build that relationship, Dave. Okay, you've already got responses. That's pretty awesome. I would nurture those relationships. Treat them like they're an incubator. Okay, they're an incubation. You got to treat them gently with kid gloves, and don't be pushy. Be supportive and helpful and friendly and informative. Give them information. Give them tools. Okay, so that would be my answer for your email there. All right, let me see. Patricia Sierra says, yes, that's fine. Thank you, Sierra. Okay, this is Andrew. Can you give your cell number again? I know you have given it out, but I am having, yes, okay. So everybody get your pens and pencils handy. My cell phone is 412. Here, I'll type it in here too, by the way. 412, hang on one second. 412-680-3618. So that's coming over the airwaves right now, 412-680-3618. So again, use routine emails, routine questions, use email. When it's time to do your strategy call, definitely we use the phone. And if you're in any kind of a crisis mode, like you're hot and heavy on a multiple offer scenario, by all means text me, okay? Especially if you can't get your broker on the line or your team leader or anybody in your office, then by all means give me a call, okay? Guys, I think that is about it. It's 8:15. Let me reduce this and go back to the questions. I think that is it on questions. Let me just scan back through here real quickly to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I think I got them all. Okay, if I by chance skipped anything, again, please email me or text me, and we'll get it in on next week's call. I appreciate you guys being on this call. This was awesome, by the way. I know we went over a little bit, but as long as you guys are actively engaged, we're going to stay on these calls as long as it takes, because the deal is this. The greater your comprehension, the greater your retention, and the more likely you are to use the material. And so far, we've got a lot of people using this stuff. Guys, use this as inspiration to start your own booklet, start your own workshop, compare notes, share information, stay in contact, and let's get you in that first transaction. Or in the case of some of you, let's get you in your third or fourth or fifth transaction, okay? Let me know about property management. If there's enough of interest there, we had strong interest, okay? It was a close call, guys. Actually, it literally was only, I think, one or two people more wanted flips than wanted rentals. It was that close. If you want me to do rentals at the same time, I will gladly do it. I just need you guys to tell me. You tell me what it is you want from me, and I will give it to you, okay? So if that's the case, you let me know, and we'll kick off a program sooner than later for doing property management. All right. Let's see. This is, again, the name got cut off. MAR. It says, I had a question you missed with MAR. So let me go back and find MAR. If you could repost a question, that would be probably the easiest thing. In the meantime, I'll go back and look for it, but go ahead and repost a question. And I think that was Margaret, but for some reason, that got cut off there. It just said MAR, and it said, I have a question. Okay, let's see. Question. With the kids going back to school, so Margaret, was that your question? Because we actually did cover that. And you can get it on the replay. Let's see if there's another one back here. Lose, raise, we're going back pretty far now. Andrews, Carol, we got that. Here's one from MARJ, and then the name got cut off again. It says Gary, comma, and there was nothing after that. Okay, let me go back to the bottom, because Margaret, I think if that's you, Margaret, I'm going to have you repost it, because I'm not seeing anything else up in there. Unless you meant email, and I didn't see the email for some reason. Okay. Oh, here it is. This is Margaret. Okay. Know about forums. This is about forums. Okay. With the new website, member questions. Okay. Will the new website have member forums where we can pose questions and help each other? I can email you examples of a couple of good ones if you aren't sure what I mean. That actually is phase 2. Right now, what we're trying to do, Margaret, is get the software completely tested and get all the information loaded. And then once we start the membership section going live, we are going to have a forum. Okay. And I think that's what Richard was asking too. Yeah, the website, again, we have it up, guys. We have the software loaded, but if you remember, we were trying to shoot for the end of the month, and that's what we're still shooting for. They're actively loading data now, so we're actually in pretty good shape. We're on target. So keep your hats on. Maybe we'll have that next week. So Margaret says no was about forums. Will then new website have member forums? And I just read that one. Okay, thank you. Okay, I got it. Looks like I'm all caught up, guys. Well, I'm going to go spend some time with my family. I just got down here to Shenandoah, Virginia for 2 nights and 1 day, so I get to see my family and my dog, and I'm going to have dinner, and I will see you guys next week, and that is going to be, let's see, coaching call next Thursday, September 3rd, 7 o'clock. Okay, so you all should have gotten the email with the webinar schedule for the month of September. That's going to be Thursday the 3rd, Tuesday the 8th, let's see, Wednesday the 16th, Tuesday the 22nd, and Tuesday the 29th. Okay, so 5 webinars, 5 Q&A live webinars in September. All right, guys. Once again, I appreciate you being on this call. This was awesome. Great participation. And I love you guys. When you participate like this and engage, you're going to succeed, you're going to excel, and you're going to move much faster through the program than people who don't do that. So kudos to you guys. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and we will see you next week. God bless you. Bye-bye.